Hello learners, welcome to your favorite e-learning platform Pathshala. I am Savita Chauhan, your mathematics mentor. Let's just start a new chapter today called as the probability. So in the previous classes, we have learned about a very special type of a probability which is called as nothing but the experimental or the empirical probability, and we also know the formula for the experimental or the empirical probability, that how we can find such type of a probability. So the experimental probability, as per its name, it is all based upon the actual experiments or the data that we get from an actual experiment of any particular thing. So let us suppose if I'm recalling all those things again. So experimental probability are based on the results of the actual experiment and adequate recording of the happenings of the event. So for an instance, if I'm recalling the experiment that we actually have done in the class 9th. So let us suppose if I am talking about tossing a coin. So let us suppose if I've tossed this coin 1000 times, and I am getting the frequencies of getting a head or the tail is nothing but as 455 and the tail as 545. So now if I will tell you to find the probability of getting a head and getting a tail in a toss of a coin 1000 times, then what would be that? So the probability of getting a head is nothing but 0.455, or getting the probability of a tail is 0.4545. So how it is? We know that the probability of getting a head is nothing but is equal to the number of the trials which has actually happened, means 455 divided by the total number of the times a coin is tossed, which is nothing but 1000. So 455 by 1000 is nothing but 0.455, and 545 divided by 1000 is nothing but 0.545. So if we have tossed the coin 1000 times, then we are getting the probability of getting a head and getting a tail as this. So let us suppose if I'll increase the number of the tosses of the coins, then the probabilities of getting a head or getting a tail would move closer and closer to 0.5, would move closer and closer to 0.5. So what can we say about this? So we know that these probabilities are actually based on the results of the actual experiment of tossing a coin 1000 times, and for this reason they are called as the experimental probability. So these probabilities that we have done right now, the probability of getting a head or the probability of getting a tail, it is actually based on an actual experiment, and that's why it is called as the experimental probability. And now if I am talking about increasing the tosses, so when we'll say when the number of the tosses increasing, the experimental probability of getting a head or getting a tail seems to be settling down around the number 0.5, that is nothing but half. So which is what we call the theoretical probability of getting a head or getting a tail. So this probability means the probability of getting a head or the tail as nothing but half. We call this probability as nothing but the theoretical probability, and this is nothing but our approach today to the probability, that we will today learn about the probability as nothing but the particular theoretical approach rather than the experimental one. So this is the introductory part of our chapter, that is nothing but the probability.